Welcome to Danish-InfoNews TV, your Danish English news. We start on Friday, August 22nd. Pencil stabbing on Amager. Copenhagen police launched a major response in the Frederiksberg area on Amager after reports of stabbing. It turned out a man had been attacked with a pencil stabbed in the back of the head. The victims sustained only minor injuries and police arrested the perpetrator, described as mentally unstable. From Amager, we turn to Esbjerg, where a young man's punishment for violent crime was made harsher. 22-year-old man received tougher sentence for rape. A 22-year-old man has been sentenced by the Western High Court to 5 years in prison for aggravated violence, psychological abuse and rape. This ruling is an increase to his original sentence of 4.5 years in prison handed down in January this year. But the week also saw another violent case in Randers. 37-year-old sentenced after knife attack on neighbor. Here, a 37-year-old man received a treatment order after attacking 75-year-old downstairs neighbor with a herb knife. The victim managed to fend off repeated stabbing attempts. The attacker was immediately admitted to a psychiatric ward and has now accepted the court's decision. Meanwhile, international tensions surfaced in a Copenhagen courtroom. Iranian man granted asylum after embassy vandalism. An Iranian exile has been granted asylum in Denmark after surveillance footage from Iran's embassy in Copenhagen was used against him in a vandalism case. The footage showed him and 3 others protesting against the Iranian regime in 2021. His lawyers argue he would face prosecution if returned to Iran and asylum was granted. Saturday, August 23rd. Witness appeal after Esbjerg robbery. In Esbjerg, South Jutland, police are appealing for witnesses after a robbery at a Coop 365 supermarket. A suspect was arrested in the evening, but officers are still seeking information from customers who may have seen the robbery unfold. Meanwhile, online comments have landed one man in serious legal trouble. 29-year-old charged for condoning terrorism on Facebook. A 29-year-old man faces trial after writing on Facebook that he celebrated Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel as if it were Christmas. Prosecutors argue that the comment constitutes approval of terrorism. His case will be heard in September. And in Aarhus, one man's courage ended with a violent injury. 52-year-old stabbed while preventing robbery. A 52-year-old man tried to stop a robbery of a 65-year-old woman's bag on Stroll in Aarhus. The man was stabbed in the thigh while trying to stop the 21-year-old attacker. The attacker is remanded in custody for 4 weeks. Fraud was also uncovered in Denmark's private healthcare sector. Imposter treated over 100 patients at Aarhus hospital. A man used a forged diploma to secure a job at a private hospital, Aarhus, where he treated 103 patients before being exposed. In connection with the fraud, patients have been offered counseling. And organized crime continues to profit from exploiting Denmark's elderly. Criminal networks earn millions from bank courier fraud. According to Aalborg University, professional networks are scamming around 200 elderly Danes each month using bank couriers fraud, tricking victims into handing over their bank cards. The study estimates gangs earn about 60,000 krona per day. And in Frederiksberg, reckless driving once again put lives at risk. Man remanded after ramming family car. A 37-year-old man faces multiple charges after crashing into a car carrying a father and 2 children in Frederiksberg before fleeing the scene. Police later arrested him and seized his car under Denmark's reckless driving laws. Sunday, August 24th. Elderly woman dies in apartment fire. The tragedy happened at Frederiksberg early Sunday morning when an elderly woman died in a fire in her apartment. In Vanløse, police discovered a significant drug case. Young man caught with 1 kilo of amphetamine. A young man was arrested after police found 1 kilo of amphetamine in his home. Officers had initially made contact with him via telegram, and he later admitted to selling drugs. "37-year-old remanded in reckless driving case." The same man who crashed into a family car was remanded for 22 days. He was measured at 1.26% alcohol, and police found a 600 milliliters nitrous oxide tank in his vehicle. He denies being the driver at the time. In Ishøj, another case of dangerous driving emerged. BMW seized after driver tested at 4 times the legal limit. A 38-year-old Ukrainian man was stopped by West Copenhagen police with a blood alcohol level of over 2.3%. His BMW has been seized and may be confiscated permanently. Police also suspect nitrous oxide in another accident. 26-year-old crashes under influence of nitrous oxide. A 26-year-old man crashed into an electric cabinet in Herlev. Tests show he had multiple drugs in his system, and police found nitrous oxide nearby. He now faces charges for impaired driving. Meanwhile, concerns over digital privacy are growing. Danes now frequently check who accessed their health record. Over 155,000 Danes checked their access logs on Sundhed.dk in June, up from 90,000 last year, following several cases of unauthorized staff snobbing in medical journals. And in Aarhus, police are still seeking justice after a violent assault. Police search witnesses to bus group assault. A 22-year-old man was attacked by several people on bus 18. Police are appealing for witnesses, particularly 4 teenagers of Middle Eastern or African descent seen on board. Elsewhere, a shoplifting case escalated to a prison sentence. 20-year-old remanded after shop thefts. A Romanian woman was arrested in a NATO in Herning and remanded in custody for 4 weeks, suspected of string of thefts with accomplices. Still at large. Monday, August 25th. Over 500 Danes scammed by fake bank couriers. In just 3 months, 519 Danes were tricked out of 6.9 million krona by criminals posing as bank staff. Although cases fell slightly compared to earlier this year, authorities warn the level remains high. But while fraud rises, fewer Danes are struggling with debt. Record low number of bad payers. The number of people listed in Denmark's debt registry has fallen to just under 166,000, the lowest ever recorded. Meanwhile, in Esbjerg, the courts handed down a major laundering sentence. 62-year-old convicted of laundering millions through mink industry. A man was sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for laundering 6.2 million krona from drug crime through Denmark's mink sector. The case is part of a wider operation codenamed Bianco. But the most shocking case came from Hornbæk. Mother stabbed in front of her children. A 30-year-old woman in critical condition after being stabbed by her husband in front of their 3 children, aged 5, 7, and 9. The children fled to a neighbor for help, and police arrested the suspect. Social services are now involved. And in Brøndby, police are investigating 2 unexplained deaths. 2 people found dead in Brøndby. West of Copenhagen. Police discovered 2 bodies on Pillevangen. Investigations are ongoing, and police have not yet confirmed whether foul play is suspected. In Aarhus, a burglary ended up with a quick conviction. In this case, a 36-year-old jailed for flower shop burglary. Now the man received a 4-month prison sentence after breaking into the flower shop. Police say it was a swift justice ruling. Meanwhile, a case of abuse of trust has shaken Denmark's youth care system. Youth facility employee convicted of rape. A 24-year-old man who worked at a secure youth institution has been sentenced to nearly 2 years in prison for sexual relations with a 15-year-old girl placed in his care. He has also been banned from working in childcare. And in Roskilde, a weapons case took center stage. Bosnian man jailed after grenade and weapons found. The 31-year-old Bosnian man admitted to storing a replica grenade, firearms, hash, and skunk in his home. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison and will be deported after serving his term. Another violent crime followed in Copenhagen. 34-year-old remanded for raping homeless woman. A Polish man was arrested and remanded after allegedly raping a homeless woman while she slept at Christianshavn's Torv. And across Zealand, police are asking the public for help. Police are looking for fraud suspects. Southeast Jutland. Police are looking for 2 men suspected of tricking victims into handing over bank cards. One is described as Danish-looking and the other Middle Eastern-looking with a tattoo on his left hand. Lastly, in Ringsted, a new medical program was launched. Region Zealand launches acute nursing training. Region Zealand has introduced Denmark's first specialist training in acute nursing. 13 nurses are part of the initial program, which will last 18 months. Tuesday, August 26. Porch crash leaves man dead and woman injured. A black Porsche was seen driving recklessly across several Copenhagen districts before hitting 65-year-old man and his pregnant daughter-in-law outside a baby store. The man was killed instantly and the woman was seriously injured. The case has reignited calls for tougher action on reckless driving. Narcotic case, Aarhus. A 29-year-old man who was internationally wanted has been sentenced to 7 years in prison and had 435,000 krona confiscated. Following a court ruling in Retten I Aarhus, he has now been taken to custody according to the National Unit for Special Crime. From drug crime to dangerous fires, authorities in Fyn has also acted swiftly. Arson case, Forborg. A 20-year-old man has been remanded in custody for 4 weeks after appearing in Retten in Svendborg. He is suspected of 2 arson incidents in Forborg, one at a scout hut and another at a private residence, according to Fyn police. And fraudsters continue to target Denmark's elderly. Solrød, fake bank scam attempt. A 29-year-old man was arrested after attempting to scam a 75-year-old woman out of her ATM card. He had called her, claiming purchases had been made in China on her account and then showed up at her home. Police were waiting inside and promptly arrested him. You've been watching Danish-InfoNews TV, where we've covered the stories shaping life across Denmark. From violent crime and reckless driving to fraud, court cases and political decisions, these are the issues that affect us all. Thank you for watching.